So now my diff has finally failed and we do need to replace it. So if you look in there, you'll see where the groove is. And if I can get this diff to spin for you, there we go. Right there, we have a hole in the diff. And if I turn it just right, you can see in there, you can literally see the metal gears inside of there. So I'll get this pulled out. Also, you can see where it's been spraying the diff fluid out and the dust is now stuck to the frame right there, even if I hit it with an air compressor. See? So it's spraying fluid everywhere, which isn't really that terrible of a thing, but the diff is completely empty, and despite that, it is still functioning just fine. Obviously it's wide open, but as you can see, the rear tires are not moving. The diff is pretty incredible. So still functioning, technically. It still drives, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and replace it. So we're gonna do that. And I also realized in the last video, I didn't talk about the durability of the body, which is really quite good. As you can see, I've got a few cracks and breaks. I lost the mirrors. These guards have held up pretty well. We got a crack there. It cracks here and here. And then the back, what keeps happening to me is on a really bad crash, stuff will kind of hook the bumper guard that was on here, and it ended up tearing the guard off. It broke, and then what I did to fix it is I through bolted it. So I drilled a hole in the top here, put a bolt through, and that's been holding it for quite some time. But now what happened is, you can see it pulled through. So I'm gonna have to put a washer or something on here. And when it did that, obviously it completely mangled the back here. So, but other than that, honestly, it's still pretty durable. So anyways, let's tear into this. We'll get all this fixed. There it is, the old diff, and here's a side-by-side with the new one. So I just got the exact replacement diff, exact same thing. You can see where, obviously this one's been mangled, and we have a literal hole in there now. And it's actually pretty cool, because you can see the gears moving in there. Let's see if I can get this for you. So it's definitely completely dry, but again, like I said, doesn't even sound that bad. This one's obviously much stiffer. Anyways, yeah, so I'll pull this apart. Let's see what it looks like in there. That looks fine. Oh, there you go. That's crazy. Wow. Like I said, never stopped working. Huh. Anyways, I guess I'll keep this as a backup. All right, let's put the new one in. Okay, quick little pro tip if you're trying to get this in and out. And you can see it's pretty close. You're like, oh my gosh, I can almost do it. It's basically there. Well, what you can do is you just bend the frame like this. See? So you push the frame outward. So as you're pulling, you bend the frame with your hands, and that's going to give you enough clearance to get it out. So just something to see. Kind of cool to know that. So if you're curious if that put a permanent bend in the frame, it appears as though it did not. Hopefully you guys can see well enough from that angle, but it is still nice and square. So we are good to go. So very nice to see that. I know it's probably not focusing on the right point, but Anyways, you're not bending it enough that you're permanently bending it. There we are, new diff is in. Looking quite good. Everything's all buttoned up, and it's kind of cool. You can see how much stiffer it is than the last one. So I think you saw when I was rolling it at the beginning of the video how the rear tires weren't even moving. And now this one with actual fluid in it, it's much, much stiffer. You're grabbing a lot stronger. So there we go. That is looking good. I'm going to see what I can do to bolt this back together, and I'll show you what that looks like. Now you can see what it looks like all hooked up, tightened up on the bottom side. And obviously this is not going to stay forever. I'm sure a couple more crashes, it'll break somewhere else and rip out again. But for those of you whose body isn't quite as beat up as mine, this is a good way to sort of limp it along a little further there for you. So there we go, that's all done. And let's see if she still fits on there. Yep. Beautiful. There we go, now you can see a little better. That's what it looks like all complete and on there. Mounted up. And one thing I forgot to mention in my other videos too is I've run full loose at the front on the shock, so minimum preload, and then I run maximum preload on the back. Because this thing actually does seem to be kind of back heavy, and it tends to sag in the rear if you don't do this. So with it like this, you can see it kind of has a nice rake to it. Once you push it down and let it go, it tends to bring the back up just a teeny bit more than the front, but I think it looks pretty sharp like that.